Hey everyone, my name is Sydney Supa, and I am the athletic trainer at Lakewood Ranch High School in Bradenton, Florida. You are so lucky to have Steve as a teacher. He is the best. I graduated from USF in 2015 when it was still a bachelor's in athletic training. I had the pleasure of working with Steve on several occasions with football. I was with USF volleyball and softball, and I even did a summer internship there with athletics, and it was an amazing experience. After I graduated from USF, I was a graduate assistant athletic trainer at the University of South Carolina, where I worked with a high school for a year and South Carolina's beach volleyball team, which was also a wonderful experience. And none of it would have been possible without USF. Lots of hours talking about my future and lots of panic attacks, wondering where I'm going, but I made it. And after graduating from South Carolina, I really wanted to stay in the college setting. I said I would only take a high school position if it was in my hometown, and I've been at Lakewood Ranch High School ever since. This is my 9th year here, and it has been a huge blessing. And none of it would have been possible without the mentors I've made through my connections at South Florida and South Carolina. And I'm just really, really blessed to have the educational experience and training that I did. I will be using the sheet that Steve sent me as a cheat sheet, but one thing that I have really tried to abide by in my career is leaving a place better than the way I found it, whether that's truly making the facility a better place or the people around me, myself, just kind of leaving my mark on wherever I go. That's really important to me, and I hope that's something you guys can incorporate in your career. But the foundations of success, building relationships and trust with athletes and your coaching staff and your medical staff, that's a big one. You never really want to mix business with pleasure, but I also believe getting to know the people you work with on a small personal level does build trust. Being more of a listener, but also asking lots of questions, asking people how they're doing. It sounds so cliche and so cheesy, but I really just think leading with kindness and love, it builds trust with people, and it creates a safe place where they will want to come talk to you. As you know, athletic trainers wear many hats, and we are pretty much the first phone call or person to come talk to for athletes and coaches, and honestly most people within our realm. So I think creating this safe place is really important, and I think the way I've tried to do that in my career is getting to know my coaches and my athletes on a small personal level, asking, little things. Where are you from? What do you want to do in the future? How's your family? Those little things I think go a long way with people. I know when somebody stops and asks how I'm doing, it means a lot, and I think people are always going to remember the way you made them feel. And I think that is to be said with your administration and your team physicians and your coaches, getting to know their families and things like that. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Just really showing up and showing out for people, I think really goes a long, long way. And that's kind of where I've had a lot of success within my student athletic training program I have here at the high school, with my athletes, with their families, with my staff. Just overall being a good person goes a long way. In regards to communication, I think getting to know the person, you understand how to communicate with them, what they prefer, what they don't prefer. My football coach is not a texter. He's a phone call person, or he prefers emails. Everybody's just different, but I make it a point to communicate like crazy, even if I'm annoying them. It is good to document your communication, whether it's through an email or a text message, so you can go back and show that the communication had happened. But yes, there's lots to communicate on it. Status updates on athletes and their recovery prognosis, when's their appointment, how are they doing, what you think your evaluation is, all of those things. And I try to let coaches know ASAP. And that, I think, goes a long way as well. Clinical competence. I am going to brag. I feel like USF and South Carolina are like the two best institutions to go to school. And I really trust my training and I really trust my education. And that has built confidence within myself. Now, I will say there are moments where I still get stuck and I'll have to whip out a textbook or call somebody and get their opinion on an evaluation or something I'm just struggling with. But having strong evaluation skills is really important. And rehab is actually my favorite part of this job, but it's also the thing I have the least time to do in the high school setting. But I do make it a point to really try to offer those services. If a kid has 7th period free or they have a PE class or an art class, I will take them out and give them that one-on-one time to do a rehab if it's a post-surgical or just a really, really big injury that needs more of that one-on-one attention. But rehab is my favorite part of the job. That's where you get to see the injury happen, you get to see the treatment process after, you get to see the rehab journey and the return to play process. And I think that's what makes our profession so rewarding. It's like watching a little kid take their first steps. But rehab is really just the most fun to me. The one downside I have in the high school setting, being the only athletic trainer here, is I do miss collaborating and working with a staff of athletic trainers where you can observe and bounce off ideas and, how do I make this exercise harder? How do I make it easier? What's a good progression? That is one thing about the high school setting that can be a little isolating, but building good connections with the athletic trainers around you in your county makes, life a lot easier. Documentation, I will say, is something I was really good at first, but I have struggled with in the last year. But do it. It'll save you in several situations with parents and litigation. Professional survival skills, advocacy. Know your scope, your value, when to speak up. I've never had a hard time speaking up, just kind of my personality. And I try to, maybe I need a dose of humble pie, but I try to kind of think they need me more than I need them. There's not a shortage of athletic training jobs. There's a shortage of good athletic trainers, and people want to keep good ones. So fighting for your worth, fighting for your salary, fighting for job improvement, don't be afraid. Just do it. The worst they can say is no. But so far, the 9 years I've been at the school, I have gone down to the district. I've gone down to school board meetings. We have had wonderful salary raises. I've gotten a new athletic training facility since I've worked here. You just got to speak up. And a part of being that good person, showing up and showing out for people, people want to do good things for those who do good things for them. Time management and boundaries, how to avoid burnout. That's a good one. I almost wanted to quit 3 years ago. It is really hard to serve yourself when you're constantly serving others, but it's important. And that is a lesson I have had to learn the hard way. And I love athletic training. There's nothing about this profession that makes me, at this moment, want to walk away. But I had to learn to spend a healthy amount of time away from it to continue to love it. Not answering phone calls past a certain time, not feeling the need to rush to respond unless it's a true emergency. That'll really preserve your peace and your self-preservation, and it's important because this profession is very rewarding and very, fulfilling as long as we remember to serve ourselves as well. And learning to say no. It's so hard. It's the hardest thing I probably had to do in this profession, but you have to say no. Evidence-based practice, continuing education, it does matter. That is the one thing I love about this profession is you never know everything. You're always learning. That's why I love medicine. You're always learning, you're always evolving. It is important to go to those conferences, to get your CEUs, but that kind of leads me into the transition of networking. You just never know who's going to be your next job. or your next connection. And I do a lot of PRN work outside of this job. Sometimes it is just for financial purposes, but the biggest thing is meeting other athletic trainers. I just said it could be isolating in the high school setting, but fortunately, I live in an area that requires a lot of PRN work with IMG Academy here, Premier Sports Medicine, and that has opened the doors to meeting amazing athletic trainers and colleagues that just we've built wonderful friendships along with wonderful working connections, and it's been awesome. That makes me feel less isolated here at the high school. But networking is super important. One time in Publix, I saw a guy that had a South Carolina athletic training shirt on in the cashier line, and I literally just said something to him because I was like, this is crazy seeing somebody with a South Carolina AT shirt on. Moments like that, you just have to say hi. You just have to do it. It can be awkward at times, but you gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable in this profession. And paying it forward to the next generation. It's kind of my motto. I like to leave a place better than the way I found it, so it's better for the next person after me, and I feel like I've done a good job with that in my profession throughout the years, and I hope to continue to do that here at Lakewood Ranch. I never know where my next move will be, but I like to think I have left this place better than the way I originally found it, so it's better for the next person. Overall, my closing message, take care of yourself. Remember, you can only serve others if you're serving yourself. And this profession is very meaningful. It's very challenging at times, but it has so far served me in a wonderful way, and I'm so grateful. And I wouldn't be where I am without USF and the training and the connections I have gotten there, or South Carolina where I went to grad school. And it's been wonderful. I've taken my student trainers to several field trips at USF where Steve has led us through a tour of the facilities and learning the program, and that to me is just seeing life full circle like that is awesome. So I really hope you guys can take something away from this. And if you ever want to reach out, please get my contact from Steve. I'm happy to talk to anybody about their next career move, and just get to know you guys. But I hope you guys have a successful career and good luck in the future.